Hi, Tim Exile here. I am the creator of Flesh. Well, the original creator of Flesh. Obviously, I had a lot of help from the dudes at Native Instruments, who did a very, very fine job of, for example, look at this lovely interface. Amazing. So this video is basically a very freeform, rambly, I don't know how long it's going to be jam. I don't even know what I'm actually going to cover. But well, to be honest with you, I've been trying to do nice, concise tutorial videos all bloody week, and I'm not very good at them. So I just thought I'd give you an infinite bumble about Flesh. So here is a Flesh infinite bumble. So yeah, quick introduction how the interface works. It all rotates around this central circle here. This is where the samples are dropped in. I'll drag in a sample now. Here's some samples I prepared earlier. Oh no, where are they gone? Hang on, there we go. Oh no, there's too many there. What about this one? What's this one? There we go. That'll be. Also, something a bit more beaty. Something a bit more clearly beaty. That's pretty clearly beaty. So yeah, just drag it in there. And Flesh kind of does all this analysis. If you go into this samples window here, you see the wave in there. I'll click hold so it plays. You can already hear it's being manglized by Flesh. Hang on, let's nip that mangling in the bud. Pretty much the original sample. So in the samples page, you've got this threshold control that allows you to set how many slices there are. At the moment, you can't really hear that making a difference because it's just pretty much playing straight through. Let me change the preset here. Let's do that. So you can hear what threshold does. Just basically removes some of the hits in the beat. But one of the cool things is that you can actually kind of stretch the beat over a number of bars. So it's basically like kind of half timing it or double timing it or whatever, like this. And you can also do nice kind of polyrhythmic stuff. So I'll come back to that in a bit. But for now, well, it's worth saying that what's happening in all these slices, each slice, Flesh analyzes the what's actually called the spectral centroid. So basically how high or low the sound is. So for more kicky kick drum sounds, you'll have a low centroid, and for hi-hats you'll have a high centroid, snares you'll have a medium centroid, etc. This is used to kind of generate a sort of curve that's then sent to automate all sorts of things, pitches, modulation, and so forth. So now we've got that loop going. Let's turn it off for a while. It's a little bit. So yeah. So basically, the next thing I'll show you the monosynth. Well, let's just play it with some monosynth. So what's happening here is the slices in the sample are triggering the monosynth, and the monosynth is made up of it's like a wavetable oscillator. It's a single oscillator synth, but each time it receives a note on, it rebuilds a wavetable from whatever's coming into it, and that's the sample. So the sample is playing into the monosynth, and the monosynth rebuilds away from that. And let's see how this sounds. I'm prepared, so let's see what we get to. So probably at this pitch, you probably can't actually hear that it's coming from the original sound. If I take the pitch down, maybe you can hear a bit more that it's coming really good at these little like sort of instant acid kind of stuff. And what's really nice about the sort of real-time rebuilding wavetable thing is that you get these nice kind of tonal variations very quickly without having to like program them in with loads of automation and stuff like that. So I'll mute the main sample. So basically, all we're hearing is a monosynth now. Nice glide in here, some chorus and all those things we know and love. Let's go back to the sample and check. So you can do really nice kind of polyrhythmic stuff. Oh, I've also got I've got the complete control keyboard down here, so I'll just show you. I practiced this earlier, so hopefully that's pointing at the keyboard. Yeah, actually, I'll take it off hold now because I'll show you how it kind of triggers with the keyboard. So you can see on the screen here, you've got these three what we call remote octaves, and I don't even know why we call them remote octaves. Anyway, this seems to be the terminology when we were making it at Native, that these are called remote octaves. So that's what they are. You've got 12 harmonies. I'll go into that at some point. You've got 12 samples, and you've got 12 sounds. I'll also go into that at some point. So yeah, triggering things on the keyboard. Actually, I'm just going to take it out of sync mode. When it's out of sync mode, it means that the transport is governed, is just controlled internally to Flesh. I'll also tell you a bit more about the transport in a bit because it does some kind of funky stuff. Funky stuff. You would have to say that these days? Is that even normal? So yeah, anyway, so what I'm going to do, I'll just trigger this sample on the keyboard, and then you can see that it's very tweakable on the knobs. So let's go back to the monosynth, maybe try some other presets. So let's do some sampley stuff, because this is where it starts to get fun when you start to mess around with the different variations you can make with the samples. So I've dropped that original sample here, and what I can do is copy that over by just clicking and dragging. So I can copy that over there, copy that over there, copy that over there, and copy that over there. So we've got exactly the same sample on all these bottom five. What I could do now is, say on this one, I'll change that to 4. This one I'll change that to let's just go up to the normal 16, so it's like a normal loop. So you've already got like a few kind of rhythmic variations that you can sort of mash up with here and there. Yeah, so excuse the coffee drinking. It's I didn't get quite enough sleep last night. That happens when one is thinking about music and technology. So yeah, so that's so you see this is the sample selectey octave at work, and that's all actually just from one sample with different rhythmic settings. So now let's have a look at the sounds octave, which is up here and represented here on the interface. So I can just, well, I mean, it's pretty basic, really. I can just switch Actually, no, you know what? First of all, let's go into the humming page, because this kind of nice, sickly sweet major chord is slightly bugging me. Let's get something a bit more spicy going on. Let's stick in... Oh, I've got note blindness now. Maybe that. Let's stick that in and that in. That like... So that's a little sneak preview of the harmony page. I'll come back to that later. So anyway, the sound. What you can basically do with this octave is if you can set up completely different sound parameter settings for all the different engines, and then switch with these keys. But the cool thing is, it's not just a switch. You're also triggering as well. So all these remote octaves are actually triggers too. And also the harmony keys as well. So. Etc. So all these, they're all triggers. So actually, one of the things that you a cool thing that is something I've been working on for quite a while. Actually, is this sort of, I call it smart transport. I don't know, maybe that's a bit kind of over the top, but basically, you see this. The sync button here. If you turn on sync and it's white, it's always in sync with your host, so whatever host you're in. But with sync off, basically you can re-trigger the transport. When it's grey, it means the transport's stopped. And if you trigger it, it goes blue and starts playing. But when you release the key, you see it flashes for a bit, and basically while it's flashing, it means you can pick up the beat as if you were just using the key as a mute. So which well, I find it really cool for. It's sort of mashing up, but allows you to really like play something in a sort of track way without having to kind of unmute things, but you can just trigger like individual notes on the beat that you want to trigger the note on. So yeah, but let's go back to the sound octave. So I mean, it's pretty straightforward, really. You just have 12 different sounds, which are settings of all these different engines here, and you can switch between them. What you can also do is stick it in perform mode, which basically means, because you see as you switch these sounds, this knob is moving here. I'll take it off perform for a bit. So let's say I can set the sound for that there, and switch to that one. Okay. I'll come back to that in a bit. So yeah, as you change these, you see all these knobs moving. And actually, so what I did when I went in here, you can actually define which of those knobs are changed by the sound selector. So you can actually disable them individually, which means that they stay the same when you're selecting sounds. So I'll leave them on for the time being. So yeah. So perform mode. What perform mode does? So at the moment, with perform mode off, if let's say I'll just set all of these knobs to 0, and then switch preset and go back, and the knobs are all at 0. Set that there now. Put perform mode on, and then tweak out these parameters. And then when I hit this key again, it'll just go snap back to the original one. Etc. So let's go back to the harmony page. So the way the harmony thing works is that so Flesh generates notes and melodies for each of the synthesis engines, for the pitches of those, based on this centroid or velocity curves that it gets from the analysis. And what you do in the harmony page is it's got all the settings for how those curves are interpreted. And down here you've got a kind of chord mapper. So basically you can tell Flesh which notes you want it to choose from. So here we've just got 3. But then you can add lots of notes in. In fact, you can add all the notes in. Let's have all the notes. So So at the moment you can hear it. It's holding a pretty steady pitch on everything. Let's just focus on the polysynth for the time being. So here you've got this melody setting. You can set the root note. Then you've also got this melody parameter, and what the melody parameter does is, well, when you turn it either positively or negatively, it either positively or negatively maps the, in this case, a velocity curve to the melody, the polysynth. So I'll just turn it up. Ah, I know what's going on. One sec. Okay, I'll come back to that later. So now the melody is up full or negative full, so the velocity is negatively influencing the melody. So let's go into the polysynth and just change some different presets. We'll change to a layered monosynth. Now all I want to do is mess around with the polysynth actually, but I will hold back and show you more harmony page stuff. So like the sounds and the sample pages, you can just drag and drop to copy a harmony setting to another key. So we've got exactly the same settings on each key. Actually, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to enable this, which links the harmony settings to the keys, which links these sort of parametric settings up here, so they also follow. So they change with each key. So let's say on this one, we'll just put it up to 12, put the root note up to 12. And let's copy that one and then give that there, maybe. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to record a sequence. Obviously if you want to get this, you know, you've got, let's say you like this, you don't have to, I do. Say like that sequence. You can actually record that sequence into the chord sequencer, which I'll do now. You just set it into ARM mode, it starts flashing, and all you have to do is start playing on your keyboard and play legato. That means don't let any notes go off until, no, this isn't a very good explanation. So make sure that there's at least one note pressed at all times, and then when you release the final note of the sequence will stop. That's very complicated. I'll show you how it's done. It's actually very basic. You do this. So we've got a nice little 3-bar chord sequence there, and then all you have to do is re-trigger using any of the other sound octaves, or in fact the harmony octave. You can override it by pressing another key. Take this out of perform mode because that perform mode stole my lovely politics preset, and now that should be back in there. Oh, I know what else it did, and it did this. So I'll tell you a little bit about these triggers now. So you can basically choose for each of the engines. Well, basically for the monosynth and the polysynth and the effects as well. You can choose whether the engines are triggered by either lower sounds or higher sounds or both. So in this case, I've got polytics being triggered by both the low and high. But then if I remove the low, then you only hear the high sounds. Maybe there's probably not that many sounds getting through the high threshold in this one, but you can hear some little diddy ones in the background there. Let's say maybe in a different sample. So yeah, that's how the triggers work. If you take the... Let's turn this sample down. Let's just turn up the glide. The glide's always good. Some of these effects off. There's effects right now. Got a decent detune here. So you've got various. Well, you've got 16 presets here, and they're all presets to the sub-engine. Which you can, if you have the full version of Reactor, you can actually see the panels for the individual sub-engines. Actually, when we were making Flesh, there was a long debate about whether we were actually going to include all the sub panels, because I mean, there's a shed load of parameters in there. Like I think it's like 100 per engine or something like that. And we just figured in the end that it will be very, very hard to squeeze them all onto this panel. So we threw them out. We threw them out. So we ended up opting for this these 16 presets here that sort of show off the various different capabilities of the synth engines. I'll just show you some of the polysynth ones. Actually, you know what? Let's have a slightly less cacophonous harmony. There we go. A simple minor chord. Everyone likes a simple minor chord. Well, most people do. Tell you what, let's just have a little spicy note on the top there. I do like it. Oh no, that's cheesy. That's not spicy. That's cheesy. Getting more Reiki as we go. So yeah, we'll run with that. We'll run with that. So we've got polygamy. Polymorph, which is it's pretty wild kind of. I think you've actually got 4. So the polysynth has 4 oscillators. And in the polymorph preset, they're just layered with 4 across 4 octaves, so you get a pretty kind of thick sound. Oh, is the monosynth on? The monosynth is on, right? Turn the monosynth off. So that's polymorph, then you got, yeah, it's a nice sort of noisy, wobbly, lumpy one. This change. So each preset has its own specific special parameters which you can change. So this one changes the modulation direction for the filter modulation. So if you switch that around, it'll modulate in the other direction. Poly-ease, poly-theatre. It's a bit more sing-songy, this one. So you see this spread parameter here. This basically controls how Flesh turns the single melody that it receives, or how the polysynth turns a single melody that it receives, which is a monophonic melody, and then it spreads that out into a chord. So the spread parameter is 4 here. So basically you get 4 semitones in between each oscillator. But downstream from that, that spread then gets pitch snapped onto this chord here. So basically you get chords. But if you change the spread parameter, you sort of change the character of those chords. So all the way up at 12, you've just got the oscillated spread over 4 octaves. So just get a thick monophonic gloop. So it goes. You get a nice sort of close harmony vibes there. Actually, I'm just going to play around with this for a bit and let's have some effects. They're always good. So here's another thing, pitch bend. You can, in the harmony page, you can pitch bend the root note using the pitch bend controller. I'll show you. It's very simple. Gloopy gloop. That's without effects. So yeah, what next? We're doing a poly. Let's go back to the polysynth, polytheist. freeform mode off so we can change stuff. These effects. Those effects, they are nuts. Maybe it's time for effects after all. Let's put that sequence back on again. So that's polyphony, which can go pretty nuts. I don't know whether I don't know whether to go into the nerdiness behind the polysynth, because it's basically a resonator, but it's kind of a granular resonator, and it's got some extra cool stuff in the feedback loop. So it's like a sort of Car plus Strong comb filter style, almost physical modelling thing, but because of how the grains work and everything's sort of auto normalized, you can put anything in the feedback path. You can put EQ, put distortion, FM, and so on, and feed it back in without it kind of going miles out of control level-wise, which is pretty cool. I mean, it leads to quite expressive sounds. Well, that's what I think. Anyway. I think it's pretty expressive. But the point is, it's all again, like the monosynth, it's all actually generated from the sample itself coming in. So there are no oscillators. The oscillators are the sound of that's coming in that then goes through this kind of granular resonator thing that has all these like synth triggers on top of it. Polygarch. Oh, actually, Polygarch's pretty good if with more basic chords, because you've got this glide, this note glide, but the glide actually gets snapped to this pitch map in here after the glide, so you get this kind of like sort of not portamento. There's another name for it that's not portamento. Well, you kind of hear it. You hear it like slithering up the notes. And that's without any glide. which I quite like. It's quite sort of, it's a bit new agey, isn't it? It's got a bit of a sort of new agey twang going on. Let's stick on some effects. I always like these effects. I always end up going back to these effects. I don't know what it is about them. But I mean, I spent a lot of time on all of these engines. The polysynth. I've actually been working on the concept behind the polysynth for over 10 years. But it's only now that I've found like a context that it sort of makes sense in. Likewise, a monosynth. I mean, man, getting that real-time wavetable working. I mean, it's so simple to like get a prototype of something working that sort of does like 80% of what you want it to do. But then the problem is that you sort of tweak the parameters. You know, you can tweak it within a small range and like, yeah, it still sounds cool. But to get it so it works like right across the range and it doesn't go out of tune and it doesn't alias too much, and you don't kind of lose, and the level stays the same. And that just took forever. It took months to get that right. Anyway, I digress. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the effects engine. So this is based on a dub delay that I sort of modified beyond itself, but it's also modulated by the curves. So this is why the delay actually has these trigger switches as well, because every time Flesh generates a slice event, you can switch parameters in the delay, and you can change the delay lines and the delay times and so on. So I mean, you don't see all of this because we took the decision to simplify things as much as possible to make the workflow really simple. So it's much more of a kind of it's a sort of happy accident instrument. But what it does do is it just means that the delay is very kind of expressive. I mean, it's not at all kind of deterministic. You know, it's not a precise tool, but it does do sort of crazy modulations and so on. This one demonstrates quite well how you can hear the delays being modulated by the notes. You can hear that. So these, so as you can see, you've got these four main spectrum character length modulation controls, which I mean, my idea behind that was to, so you've got like a sort of one kind of semantic idea for controlling everything, whether it's a monosynth or a polysynth or a subsynth or the effects or the samples, that they've all got the same controls that have some kind of, there's something in common, you know, spectrum, when you turn spectrum up, you add high, you know, low spectrum is lower spectrum stuff, high spectrum is high spectrum stuff. Character adds a certain character to the sound, and then length, obviously. And modulation. Just dictates how much the sound kind of moves over time. So generally with modulation up, you'll get more kind of modulation down is like dolphins swimming along in a nice smooth sea. Modulation at the top is dolphins going nuts and jumping out of the water and spinning around and splashing on their backs and da da da. Don't know where that dolphin metaphor came from. It's probably because I was watching a nature documentary last night that involved dolphins, actually. That'll be why. Just hear those dolphins. So I have sort of forgotten now. I've just got I got into the fleshy vortex. That's where I got into. I can't even remember what I was showing you now. Oh yeah, so here's the thing. The subsynth, we haven't even set foot at the subsynth yet. Let's go into the subsynth page. So the subsynth doesn't actually have its own pitch generator per se. It's you just select whether you're taking the pitch of the monosynth or the polysynth. So simply using the polysynth here, we'll take the source from the polysynth and turn it up. Basically, you can hear that it's just sort of following the pitch of the polysynth and adding kind of sub harmonics for bass lines and stuff like that. It's a multi-sign sub generator thing, and it sort of behaves. I don't know if you know about shepherd tones, but these sort of notes, these tones that can kind of appear like they can just go up and up and up and up and up forever. Search for it on YouTube. There's some amazing videos of like sort of Mandelbrot fractal images alongside shepherd tones that really freak out your perceptual nodules, whatever your perceptual nodules are. But it uses the same technique basically. So you can have sort of wildly fluctuating pitches, and you can sort of change the octaves and so on. But the sub will still stay subby. I will show you forthwith. Actually, let's do it with a monosynthy one. Which was one? Polytheist, polyphony, yeah. That's good at some glide, so you can hear it glide. So you can sort of hear the sub being shepherd tony there. Actually, if I mute this, mute the effects, then you can hear the sub on its own being all shepherd tony. Shepherd Tony. I wonder what he looks like. So yes, there we go. I'm going to show you now. I haven't shown you the sample page, have I? Let's look at what the sample page can do. Probably slightly bored of that sample now. Let's have a different one. Maybe I think this one might be. What's this?
We're going to next.
Oh no!
Fourth next time anyway. So.
That's me. No, that's going to be annoying, isn't it? No, that's another beat. But somewhere there's like a. Yeah, that will put flesh through its paces. This is a sort of some granular thing. I'll play it in its entirety again. So yeah. Let's go to the sample page and then let's take the threshold down. you've got, like the other engines, you've got 16 different presets. The sample playback thing has a few little tricks up its sleeve. It's got, well, you can use the curves to modulate its playback in various different ways. I'll just flick through these presets, and you can get some idea of what it does. Oh, that's not much at the moment. You know what? I am going to drop that voice sampling because voices in Flesh do sound nuts.
We're going to next. Well, it'll be our fourth next time anyway. So
how terribly embarrassing.
We'll do something special.
Okay, that was me. That was me. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it'd be pretty cool for doing stuff with vocal material that you're using in a track. I mean, that's definitely something that I would like to try out when I actually have a chance to make some music again, because I haven't had a chance to make any music for the last 2 years because I've been making this. Yeah, it's weird. Like you spend, well, it's over 2 years now. It's almost 3 years I've spent pretty much full time working on Flesh, and you have all these ideas about why, how you're going to make music. Why are you making this thing? What's the thinking behind it? Who wants to use it? What they're going to use it for? And of course, a lot of it is like ideas I've got about how music could be made or should be made or whatever. But all that process is kind of theoretical until it's done, until you get a chance to actually make music with it. But I'm really looking forward to actually getting some time to just really go deep with it. I mean, one of the things I wanted Flesh to be able to do is to be like the one instrument that you make a whole album with. And I'm pretty well, from what I've had a chance to mess around with so far. I reckon it's pretty possible. I mean, obviously not completely on its own, but I reckon with Flesh and Pro Tools and my Flow Machine, I could pretty much do a whole album. But we'll see if that works out in the future.
Anyway,
some more slices in. That's quite cool, actually. That's what these sound like without a sound.
Well, it'll be a next time anyway.
So there's nothing going on in that one.
We'll do some special. We're gonna. Well, it'll be a next time. Well, it'll be a next time. We're gonna. We're gonna. Well, it'll be we'll do some. We're gonna. Well, it'll be a next time. We're gonna. Well, it'll be a next time. We'll do some special. We're gonna. Well, it'll be a next time. We'll do some special. We're gonna. Well, it'll be a next time. We'll do some special. We're gonna. Well, it'll be a next time. We'll do some special. We're gonna. Well, it'll be a next time. We'll do some special. We're gonna. Well, it'll be a next time. We're gonna. Well, it'll be a next time. We're gonna. Well, it'll be a We're gonna. Well, it'll be a next time. 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 We're gonna. Well.
Yeah. I'm beginning to get into the hypnotized zone. Yeah, so what else? Well, there's modulation. Bloody hell, that's a whole world. Modulation world. So in here, in the sounds page, you can go to modulation, and you've got you've got the ability to kind of modulate on, like, sort of do a big top level global modulation on all these main front panel parameters, and you can modulate them. Well, let's say, what should we modulate? Well, let's modulate spectrum, because spectrum is always powerful. Is it in this case?
Yeah.
Okay. So spectrum in the center. And the easiest way is to modulate it with the LFO, because it just keeps on modulating. But you can also modulate using this envelope here, or a mod wheel. A mod wheel? The mod wheel. Maybe you've got 5 mod wheels, in which case it's a mod wheel, one of your 5 mod wheels, but I'm a simple man with one mod wheel. And all you do is just turn up the modulation amount. That's for positive modulation, and left it's for negative modulation. And here I've got my only mod wheel. Poor me with my one mod wheel. That is negative modulation, and that is positive modulation. So now I can modulate the spectrum using my mod wheel. So let's modulate everything using the mod wheel, so you get a proper sort of modulation blitz. It's the same with all the other sounds as well. Apart from if they... so you have to have the knobs in the centre for the modulation to work properly. Still getting sucked into hypnotized zone. So yes, well, you get this thing. I always get it whenever I start like messing around with music things. I just kind of get, it's like this weird sort of spider's web, and you sort of find yourself caught up in this kind of silky fronds of sound, and then suddenly you stop and you realise you're kind of like trapped, waiting to be eaten by the audio spider, and you have to sort of break free and start making sense again. So anyway, hopefully my sense organs are back online. Yes. So the different modulation sources. Well, let's switch this to envelope. So this is a sort of monophonic envelope that's activated when you hit keys. So I'll just show you what. So we've got quite a long attack there. Tell you what, I'll just put the sustain up full, so it will go up to the maximum and then decay at the end. This R button here, basically, if R release is disabled, then it will stick. The envelope will just stick at its position when you let the key go. The advantage of this is if you set it like this, with no attack, no decay, and full sustain with no release, then it basically makes these knobs velocity sensitive. So. back into the audio, silky audio web. So anyway, sustain down, a little bit of attack, a little bit of decay, and some release. There we go, and of course you can do LFO. So let's just modulate this with an LFO. And this is quite good if you're not a sort of, if you're less of a hands-on hitty, pokey, tweaky kind of musician. The LFOs might be more your thing, because you can just hit the hold button here and things will just kind of keep on rolling. Change the cycle length of the LFOs. Tell you what, I'm just going to do some modulation here with the different engines. So tell you what, I have that negatively modulated, that positively, that negatively. Positively and negatively. That's more of a kind of like automatic vibes kind of thing. So oh yeah, another thing. Actually, one of the coolest things about Flesh. Well, I mean, there's lots of cool things about Flesh, if I may say so myself. But I'm just doing it here. I'm going to set up some. Some audio channels to record from, and you can basically set it up so external 2, plug in external 3, plug in external 4, plug in external 5. I guess you can see what I'm doing. Well, if you can't see what I'm doing is setting up audio tracks to record the multi-track output of Flesh, which will then allow you to edit and mangle stuff together later on. So since we've got this kind of nice automatic thing going, I'll record a little snippet of that, put it in sync mode so everything's nicely in sync with the DAW. Just hit play. Oh yeah, one of the nice things about the interaction between the modulation of these knobs and the knobs is that you can still, even if the knobs are being modulated, you can still use the knob to kind of I don't even know what you call it. I know mathematically how it works, but I don't know how to describe it. But basically, you can still use the knobs while you're modulating. So in the knobs at its center position, you get the full modulation, and then when you go down to the left, there's no modulation. And you go up to the top, there's no modulation. Anyway, that's more than enough stuff. Yeah, so basically you've got a whole bunch of stuff there to start building tracks out of, and I mean, as I like to do, editing to smithereens, wee smithereens. Actually, this is a minefield. If I get into editing world now, I will be lost to you for many, many hours. Let's just reverse something. I always like reversing things. It's a rather inconsequential reverse. Okay, let's run with it. Let's just reverse the old bloody lot. So yeah, anyway, that's, you know, the basis of some kind of riff that you could then make some kind of track out of. Oh, I recorded my voice. The nice things about the interaction between the modulation. The nice things about the interaction between the modulation of these knobs. God, I've got such a I'm coming through. Got such a kind of kind of voice. The nice things about the interaction. The nice things about the interaction. Oh, come on, let's export that and stick that in Flesh. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. My silly voice. Oh no, don't go back to the beginning. Right. Choose Pro Tools. I'll just stick it in there. That'll do. No, hang on. What are we doing? I don't know what's the name of this project. I can't see, it's hidden by this Logitech camera. Coffee Flesh Out. That was another thing. That'll do. That'll do. My silly, I think, voice. Does anyone else find this new? Let me put the typo in there. There we go. Plonk. Does anyone else find this new spotlight thing? It's bloody useless. I want the one that's up there. It worked way better. Anyway, first world problems. So we now have our sample in there. Let's play that harmony pattern again. About the interaction between drag queen. About the interaction between the nice things about the interaction between the nice things about the interaction between the nice things between the nice things about the interaction 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 well and truly in the wormhole there. I can't even remember what was I doing. What was I doing? What else to show you? God, it's crazy. Like, we've been working on this for 3 years, and you sort of forget like all the different like deep wells you've ended up going down to get things to work. But there's actually so much in here. The interface. We really tried hard to make the interface as simple as possible and make your kind of first experience with Flesh. Because I think I'm going to draw it to a close, so I'm going to look you in the eye. Hi. In fact, I'll even take my headphones off. So I mean, when we were making Flesh, we wanted to, I guess, get all this kind of, all the power and all the kind of subtlety that's in all the engines and everything we've gone to, all the efforts that we've gone to make it kind of expressive and usable and very quick to kind of get inspiration and so on. But yeah, you sort of forget like all these little depths. And there's actually quite a lot to show you. But I think I've covered it all. Oh, macros page. There's a macro page. This is quite funny actually, because the other guys, so Andre and Eflem at Native, who I teamed up with to do the kind of interface design and to sort of productize the idea. They were just like, no, we don't need a macro page. Macro page is stupid, it's bad. But actually, the previous prototypes of Flesh that I'd been working on they had a slightly different interface concept. So anyway, this is boring. Actually, maybe I'll tell you what. I'll show you some of the prototypes in a bit. That's quite. So anyway, we ended up with this macro page because I pushed really hard for it. I was wrong. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Andre. Sorry, Eflem. But maybe you'll find it useful. Maybe you will. It's so you've got these sub-macro controls here. They're repeated in the macros page. So basically, you've got one page where you've got all the individual tweaky bits at once. If you want to, I mean, it's good for definitely if you're getting in this kind of like, if you're in hold mode, it's for hold mode jamming. I'll put these guys. And you can modulate individual engines separately from there. You can modulate them separately. So yeah, it's definitely useful in some scenarios. Let's stop this. Yeah, man, let's show you. I'll show you some of the prototypes. Oh, man, this is. Let's use a normal Finder. Where it's in my Dropbox. Reactor development, live patch, work in progress, Flesh, archive. What's in the Flesh archive? We've got the whole world is in here. Flesh 2. Oh my god. Right, this is open normal reactor outside poo trolls. Hopefully it won't crash poo trolls. Poo trolls has been doing a lot of crashing recently. Actually, that's probably no slight on DigiDesign. Much as I have many reservations about Avid. Actually, in this case, it's my fault because I upgraded to El Capitan before they said I should for various reasons. So that's probably why it's crashing a lot. Anyway, Flesh 2.001. What's that going to look like? Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, okay. So this is Flesh. God, I don't even know how to use it now. So this is one of the prototypes that I took to native. I think this is probably at the point when it was still in effect. Yeah. Because loop player. Oh, hang on, no, it's playing. Let me stop it and put this through the output that you'll be able to hear. Yeah. So this actually runs in real time as an effect, rather than having this whole drag and drop track slice thing. But I think it's better than it's more powerful. Let's see, Flash 3.001. Oh yes, that's fine. Oh, I hope that's fine. Maybe that breaks something. I don't know. Right. Loop input. No, that's not. That's not using for some reason. That's not using. That's not working. Yeah. So that was. I think this is the last prototype that I delivered to native before we actually turned it into a proper project. I don't know, why is it not working? Because it would be cool to show you. Apart from anything else, this waveform display, which I spent bloody ages on, and then Eflem came up with a much better idea of these rotary waveforms. But I was pretty pleased with it. Yeah, no, it's broken. I can't figure out why it's broken, but it is. But anyway, yeah, so this is a history of Flesh. I mean, if you've got this far, I don't know, I've been rapping on for well over an hour now, probably like an hour and a half. So there's probably about 3 people. So hi, 3 people. Thanks for being the last to sort of prop up my engagement statistics, or what is it? Retention? Attention? I want to retent your attention. Well, I'm very glad if I've retented your attention. I think it's probably time for me to waffle off and have some lunch and do some other things. But yes, it's been a joy to have an opportunity to sort of ramble through Flesh. I hope, well, yeah, download the demo. Just get into it. It's, in a way, Flesh is a kind of hard instrument to explain, just because it's an instrument to kind of describe and explain, partly because it does so much different stuff. But I just get the demo, get some of your own samples, just whack them in there and start messing around. And I don't know, I can't guarantee you'll have fun, because that's a strong thing to say, and I'll probably, I might get caught out and someone say, well, I didn't have fun. I would like to own everything you have. So I'm not going to say that you will definitely have fun. But I am 97.23% sure that you will have some fun if you download the demo. So download the demo. Thank you for your attention. And good morning, evening, night, whenever. Good day. Good day to you, fine folk. Good day and farewell. Ciao for now.